But first, our top story this half an hour, Supreme Court showdown. Judge Brett Kavanaugh and his accuser, Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, agreeing to testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee this upcoming Thursday. However, now a second accuser is coming forward. The story of Deborah Ramirez revealed in a new article from The New Yorker last night. In it, she claims Kavanaugh exposed himself to her in college. Kavanaugh also denied that allegation. Joining us now is Fox News senior judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano. Judge, good to see you.
Good morning.
Your take.
Well, there's also a piece in the New York Times in which Ms. Ramirez apparently either repudiated what she said to Ronan Farrow or expressed doubt about her own memory from the story.
Now she doesn't really believe, she doesn't know what you
Right, and then there's the new allegations from Michael Avenatti, who claims that he spoke, that's Stormy Daniels' lawyer, if you can make that connection,
right.
Connect those dots, says he spoke or sent someone to speak to a former girlfriend of Judge Kavanaugh, who claims that Judge Kavanaugh revealed to the girlfriend that he engaged in involuntary sexual activity with female undergraduates at Yale.
But they can't find
find
anybody to corroborate these stories, right?
Correct.
There were 5 women or 4 women. Shannon Bream reported that they said, no, I wasn't at the party.
You really cannot use as an instrument to block a nominee to the Supreme Court third and fourth party hearsay. The only meaningful testimony, I think, will come on Thursday when Dr. Blasey Ford does testify. And all of us, senators and commentators and voters and whoever wants to watch this, can form their own judgment. This is not a jury trial. This is not a case where she has to prove that this happened. This is not a case where he has to prove that it did not happen. It's a case of lasting impressions. What will be the lasting general impression at 5 o'clock on Thursday afternoon? Is it more likely than not that Dr. Blasey Ford told the truth, or is it more likely than not that Judge Kavanaugh told the truth? And then there's the political question, which you would know better than I. Suppose it's a tie. Who does a tie go to here? Or is Judge Kavanaugh so damaged that he will lose if this is a tie? That is, if they're both equally credible?
Why did Feinstein sit on this letter for so long?
Good question.
And decide to just, bring it out in the 11th hour or weeks before the midterm election?
I would like to see one of the Republican senators ask her that. I don't know if she would bother to answer. I think she is motivated by wanting to win a crazy election in California, where she's running against another Democrat who's farther to the left than she is. She may very well be pandering to that left-wing base out there rather than engaging in the appropriate fiduciary behavior. She has a fiduciary duty to do the right thing when you're talking about the most important thing the Senate does, which is to confirm someone to a lifetime seat on the court.
Senator Mazie Hirono has reached a new level of hysteria in terms of shrieking at the top of her lungs,
yes,
in addition to cursing on national television, but shrieking at the top of her lungs that all men in this country need to shut up and step up. And I'll ask this question to you. With these new allegations from Ramirez, where the New Yorker, to Maria's point, says the New Yorker printed these allegations but has not confirmed with any other eyewitnesses that Kavanaugh was present. And then the New York Times took it further. As you said, they interviewed several dozen people trying to corroborate this woman's story, and no one they found no one with firsthand knowledge, and indeed found people that Ms. Ramirez contacted former Yale classmates asking if they recalled the incident. And Ramirez told some of them, but she told some of them that she could not be certain that Kavanaugh was the one who exposed himself to her to that point. So with this latest story, does that damage the Democrats even more? Because it does increasingly look like they're using these stories for pure political gain.
Yeah. And add to that the hate. This op-ed in the Journal today, why the left is consumed with hate. That is also this constant fighting and trying to take down Republicans.
Why the left is consumed with doing anything necessary to maintain Roe versus Wade as it presently stands. Let's face it, this is all about abortion. This is all about...
I think it's about Donald Trump. They don't want him to have any more opportunity to put Supreme Court justices in place.
But they fear that this Roman Catholic judge, unabashedly Roman Catholic, who says Roe versus Wade is settled law, will join a majority of other Catholics on the Supreme Court who are willing to wear away at its edges. That's what I think this is about. But at what price? At the price
women in order to save women and rescue
and at the
women
price of destroying his reputation and impairing his wife and destroying his child and making anybody think, is this what I have to go through to elevate myself to a higher court in the land? Is this what the Founding Fathers intended? Is this any way to confirm a Supreme Court justice? Let me tell you what Donald Trump can do if this fails. Donald Trump, the president, has recess appointment power. If Mitch McConnell recesses the Senate for 10 minutes, he can put Brett Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court for 4 years without Senate confirmation. In fact, before the Robert Bork era, it was very typical. As soon as a resignation came about and the Senate was in recess, this is how William Brennan got on. Eisenhower nominated him. He was on the next day, and then was painstakingly confirmed during the 4 years that he was on. Now, I don't know that Brett Kavanaugh wants to do this. This is real hardball. He'd have to give up his present lifetime seat in order to do it, but the president has that power. On the other hand, Dr. Blasey Ford has the power to go to a police station in Maryland where there is no statute of limitations on sexual assault and file a criminal complaint. Is the Senate going to confirm somebody who's the subject of an investigation for attempted rape? Just depends on how strong these people want to get. Each side has a bullet that it can shoot.
Are you concerned, though, at this point? One of the things we were talking about at the top of the show was that the whole notion of innocent until proven guilty seems to be thrown out the window right now. And that, to me, is what was at play right now.
We're debating this. Due process.
Here's what I would like to see. I would like to see Judge Kavanaugh prevail on the merits, not on the basis of any default. Because if he prevails on the basis of default, Dr. Blasey Ford doesn't show up. Ramirez has a faulty memory. That taint on his skin will be with him for the rest of his life, and people will question the intellectual sincerity of his rulings on the court because of this. Is he bending over backwards to get rid of the taint? Is he motivated by the taint? I don't want that. I want a justice whose thinking is clear and without baggage from his confirmation hearings.